Hello, everyone. This is Rose. Today's topic from the Book of Life is I am hated for the same reason I am loved. Make it make sense. Can people hate you for the same reason that they love you? Let's talk about it. You know, as a child, I recall that my mother was very high on teaching her children morals and values. My mother come from a very large family, country born, country raised, and they just have those morals and values. Yes, sir, no, sir. You get in trouble if you don't say put Mr. before a person name or Miss before a person name. You get in trouble. There were certain morals and values that you was raised with. And my mother basically taught us what I can remember. It was plenty, a lot of morals and values, but what stuck with me was to treat and respect people, to treat people in the same manner that I would like to be treated. Because she always taught us what you sow into the world is what you're going to reap. So treat people with respect. Human kindness goes a long ways in life. And she said, because people will remember you when there's something about when calamity come, when problems come, it draws people together. And they remember the ones who was there when the times was not rough, when the times were good, and how you treated them. So that's something my mother instilled in all of her kids. And also, she taught us mind your own business. You know, it's one thing to be nosy and be a spectator hiding behind a shade or a curtain looking to see what's going on outside because you hear commotion. But it's another thing to be out there like you eyewitness news, up in their face, going from one head to the one person to the other, trying to see why they arguing, why they fighting, what's going on. So my mother taught us, nosiness is a part of human nature, but be discreet. Don't intentionally, on purpose, or just get in people's business. You're going to observe from afar and keep your opinion to yourself if they don't ask you for it. If someone invites you in and wants your opinion, then you give it, and give it truthfully and give it freely, but have compassion with how you present your opinion to them, because people have feelings. Even though they invite you into their business because they want to vent and they want your opinion, they still care about how you present it. You got to have compassion so you don't hurt people's feelings. So these are things that I was taught. And the thing that I discovered is that as I mature, these morals and values, I look back over my youthful years and I look at my siblings, and as we age and mature, we come from the same household. We're taught the same morals and value. We have the same parent. But at the same time, not everybody follow what they was taught. So you find that in a household, there was 10. My mother had 10 kids. Everybody is different. Every last one of my mother's 10 kids are so different. And not all of them, matter of fact, 90% of them, 95% of them, did not follow what she instilled in us as a kid when it comes to morals and values and how we treat other people. Because none of my siblings, they can pop off at the drop of a pen, and just. So the thing is, and this is not to brag about me, but I sometimes look at me and I say, well, come from? Do I belong of this family because I'm so different. And it just seemed like I was born with a spiritual DNA to really have a heart, a caring heart. I care. I'm one of those ones that I can't hear anything bad that happened to somebody. I start crying. If I see somebody else crying because they're going through something, I cry with them. Don't even have to know them. But it's like my heart is sulfur. It's not that I'm not strong because I can go there, but I choose not to go there. And so I'm saying this because in this story, you're going to see why I'm outlining my beginning years as a youth, as a child growing up with morals and values, and having people that cling to me and around me because I'm a gentle soul, you know. And but anyway, I'm this type of person that I experience a lot from people, the good and bad, the ugly, where people wants to take advantage and use my kindness as a weakness, and they think I'm too naive or gullible or dumb to see it because I choose not to let them know that I'm aware, that I can see. People think you're not wise when you're a kind, giving, hearted person. So they're going to cling to you because you're gentle, because you're giving, because you don't question them. I'm not the one that if you come to me, you want to borrow $10, I'm not going to say, well, you work, what did you do with your money? I'm not that person. Okay, you need $10, I lend you $10. But you can't keep coming to me if you don't pay me back, so that shows you I'm not naive. I do use wisdom, but it takes, people think you're weak when you're a giving, loving person, but they don't understand when you're a meek person. When you're meek, they don't understand it takes a lot of strength to be meek. It takes a lot of strength because most people, they don't have a problem going off. They don't have no problem cursing you out if you say you're gonna give them their $10 back at the end of the week and you don't, and then they want some interest on it. They don't have a problem with that. But I'm not that way. I try not to ever lend a person more than what I can give them, because if you don't pay me back, then guess what? You can't come the next time. I'm not giving it back to you. See, I'm nobody's fool, but I use wisdom because I pick my battles. I'm not here I don't like fighting. I don't like arguing. I just don't. So a lot of things people think they can get over. No, it's just me choosing not to engage in that because it messes with my spirit. You understand? That's why I say I'm where did I come from? I'm not like my family. Stuff mess with my spirit. I can't do it because I don't want that on me. I like feeling light in my spirit. I don't like carrying a lot of mess, anger, and all of this stuff. It's not worth it to me in life. It's not worth it. So that's who I am. But now, the first time I heard the phrase that people hate you for the same reason they love you was approximately 7 years ago. I was at Disneyland with my daughters and my grandkids. Now, I'm the type of grandparent that I'm young at heart. I love enjoying things that the kids love, because growing up we didn't have we didn't have that afforded to us. We couldn't go to amusement parks. We couldn't go out to eat dinner. We couldn't go to the zoo. We couldn't go to the circus. We couldn't go to the county fair. Growing up, the only thing we knew was our neighborhood and what went on in our neighborhood. And, occasionally we could run to the ice cream truck, but that's about the highlight of my upbringing. So when it came to my kids and my grandkids, we went everywhere. I made sure of it, and I still love it to this day. So anyway, we're at Disneyland this particular summer, approximately 7 years ago. Grandkids was young. And I don't get on no rides. I just love walking around sightseeing, seeing the kids have fun. I love seeing the grandkids happy and tell me about the ride they got on and everything. And then I do what I do best. I get me some ice cream and some chicken wings and I'm good. I am good. I go for my ice cream and my chicken wings. That's all I eat when I go out to the amusement park. And I just find me a bench to sit on while I watch the kids, take the grandkids to get stand in these long lines, especially at Disneyland. Sometimes it takes an hour to get on one ride. So you know I'm gonna have to be parking myself on somebody's bench. So I'm at Disneyland and I'm sitting there, and this other lady, approximately I'm thinking around my age, she come and sit down, and I could see that she was with, I'm assuming, her kids and grandkids. Cause she come and she sits down next to me, and so everybody's in line waiting to get on the ride. So I sit there, and sometimes I initiate conversations, but a lot of times people initiate it with me because I'm a quiet person. I know that's hard to believe the way I run my mouth, but I am very quiet. A lot of times I'm a shy person, and believe it or not, I really am. But anyway, um, I'm sitting there, and she asked me. She said, "Oh," she said, "Is that your grandkids and kids you're with?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "Yes, it is." So she began to talk, and we began to talk about our, it seemed like we had similar paths in life. We began to talk about, why we was there for our grandkids, how we didn't have this growing up, and stuff like that. And she began to talk about how that as she got older, how she's clinging to her kids and grandkids and not a lot of her family and friends and so forth, because she said a lot of people that surround her, and she was wondering, was it her? She said a lot of people she are in contact with seem to hate her for the same reason that they love her. And I thought that was an interesting statement to make. So I asked her, I said, well, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? I said, that's interesting that you use that together. I said, why would you see them as people who hate you for the same reason that they love you? I said, I need some details on that. I'm trying to understand that. I said, because right now it seemed like our pathways in life was very similar. And I say, and the things you telling me that people have done to you, they have done to me, but I never look at it in the way that you're saying it. Because she was talking about how people hate the fact that, they have to come to her and borrow money and she make less than them, but they find themselves always having to come to her and so forth. And that she said that she just a person that came from hard times, and she know how to, takes pennies and turn it into a meal, basically. Get that. I understand that. I come from a time where, yeah, hey, beans and rice, sometimes that was a meal, you know. But if you're gonna do what you have to do to eat, you're not thinking about that. So I get what she's saying. And she says, so you're gonna hold on for a rainy day because you tell yourself, who do I go to? If everybody is coming to me for money, then who do I go to? I can't go to the same people that's coming to me because they're always coming to me. So therefore, I gotta put a nest egg aside for my rainy day. I have to depend on me for my rainy day. I can't depend on these people that keep coming to me and they make good money, because somewhere down the line, they're not learning how to be conservative or how to save anything, how to save. They just free flowing and just go spend, whatever, and don't think about tomorrow. I told her, I say, I agree with you on that, because I've had too many hungry days to not think about tomorrow, as a kid. You have days where you making a mayonnaise sandwich because that's all you got to eat. So I come from an environment where I think about the next day. I may not have much, but I'm gonna take this little I have, and say, okay, how do I stretch it and not just eat out? Let me stack up on some canned goods, some beans, some rice, something, so that when the money is low, I still have. Where if I can't give nobody the money, hey, I could cook a pot of beans, some cornbread, and some rice. You could eat with us. That's me. That's the country girl in me. So this woman was describing me. She was telling my story. And then she said that I had to write this. She said she is hated because people keep referring to her, same as me, as the dedicated, faithful person. As a dedicated, faithful person. The faithful one among her circle. I get that because that's the name that they gave me at the last job I was on for 16 years. They used to call me the faithful one, the dedicated one. I didn't ask for that title, but that's what they called me. And sometimes it came with, good rewards, and sometimes it didn't, because people got tired of hearing me being called that. And all I was doing was so grateful. The thing that my mother taught us is that show your gratitude and your gratefulness even when you're not 100% happy in that position. In other words, this is the job that feeds me. I do this job well. I'm going to continue to do this job well. And I'm going to make sure I show up for this job because this is the job that feeds me. And so it's not about that I didn't have bad moments at this job, but I'm still going to come with a grateful heart, because my gratefulness is to, I look at it and I just say, you know what? This is my way of praising God for the blessing and the door that he opened for me. He allowed them to give me favor and to give me this position. And because of it, I'm able to sustain a lifestyle that is comfortable for me. And so my gratitude to God is to show up on time, to do my job, to not play around with it and lie and say, I'm sick because I want to take a day off. Okay, if I want to take a day off, I got time on the books. I just take a day off. I'd say I want a day off, but not to play games with it, because again, my mother taught me, whatsoever you sow is what you're going to reap. And when you take things for granted and you don't show your gratitude and you don't show appreciation, it can be taken away from you. So I was that type of person. I had that in me. That's why I say that spiritual DNA, it is still from my mother, but it was something in me that it took root, and I lived it. And it's not to boast or to brag. It's just that that's who I am. So I'm hearing this lady tell her story and my story at the same time. But that phrase, that took me back, because I never thought like that. Now, she also says she was hated when she would give advice. She said people will always come to her. Ooh, I'm telling you, I feel like I could dance now thinking back about this, because same thing she was saying, it was my life. She said people always would come to her for advice, and they would tell her their personal business. And she said she would listen with a compassionate ear, without judgmental. I'm like, hallelujah. This girl, I'm like, are we twins? And so she would tell me, she said, but then at the same time, she said she would often wonder, why would they come to her and tell her their business and look for her to give them some sound advice, and then they would get frustrated with her and say things to her like you don't know everything, because she says she could be talking to them in general about something that is not their personal business. And she would say something to them like, they'd be discussing something they see, and she would give an opinion or advice, and they'd go, you don't know everything. You think you know everything. You don't know everything. And she say, and then sometimes it'd be about their personal business, and they would get mad at her for making a particular a statement or insight, or the way she perceived it, or however way she said it. She said she definitely knew she was being compassionate and careful in how she advised them. But she said sometimes they get mad because she felt like maybe she was telling them something that they knew was the truth, but they didn't want to hear. So they would attack her. I told her, I said, girl, I know what you're talking about. I say, but you see that when they come at you like that, you see that as they hate you for the same reason they love you. She said, yeah, I see that. She said, because I know they love me. I know my family and the people that I'm close to, I know they love me. But at the same time, I feel hate coming from them because of who I am. And I couldn't wrap my mind around that one at that time. I didn't 100% agree with that. It made sense what she was saying, but hate is a word that is so strongly used. It's so strong that I just didn't want to see it as hate. I didn't want to see that. At that time, what I said to her was, I said, I think that the people who you say hate you, that in the same way that they love you, I think they hate themselves. I say, it may look like it's hate towards you. I say, but I think they hate themselves. I say, I'm going to tell you why I think that. I said, I say people like them, they love being around other people who got their stuff together. But I didn't use stuff with her. I told her, I say, forgive me for my French. But I said, I'm going to tell you what I said. I said, they love being around people who got their shit together. Yeah, who got their, now stuff. I'm going to go back to stuff. They love being around people who got their stuff together. But at the same time, it shows them how they don't have theirs together. They see themselves above you because they make more money, because they have a job title that they can strut their stuff and be proud of, because they have a degree and they think you don't have one. And I say they love being around you, but it makes them realize that here they supposed to have it going on. And they make all this money, and they up in the corporate world of the business world, but they got to come to little old you. That's how they see it. The little old you who make way less money, who are a blue collar worker, and they got to come to you when they go and spend their money crazy and don't think about tomorrow. Because somewhere they may have been taught morals and values, but they're lacking in executing what they've been taught. They don't save for a rainy day. They just go and spend. Then they get nervous and scared when the food is low and the paycheck is a week away or 3 or 4 days away. And so they want to come to you who got it all together, and then they get jealous of the fact that they got to come to you because you keep yours together. And this is what I told her. I say, so hate is strong. I just don't want to see it as a hate thing. I think they love you, but they hate themselves. Now, I say the thing about them is, I say, they can't deny them not having their stuff together. They can't, because the evidence is too out there. It's too strong. The evidence is the fact that they don't have the money. They made the money, but they don't have it when they need it to supply all their needs because they're too busy living it up. So the evidence is out there. And here you still got your little next egg your little dollars, few dollars hidden in the house somewhere or wherever for a rainy day. And you got to stretch it to those who make more than you. And I said, and I bet you anything they don't come back and pay you back all the time. She said, no, they don't. And I say, and based on you telling my life story, I bet you anything you don't say anything about it. She said, no, I don't, because I don't want to make them feel worse, because they already hate me for the same reason they love me. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to go with that one, because I can't, if that's how you feel, I understand. I said, but we we live in the same pattern of life. We're on that same road, that same journey. I say, just seeing our lifestyles are so similar. I said, but my way of thinking is not there yet, but I respect yours. You feel like they hate you for the same reason they love you. I respect it. I understand it. I am not coming up against it. And so now that was, like I said, approximately 7 years ago. What made me reflect back on this time was recently, a family member close and dear to me, you know, doing the same thing to me, doing the same, I'm going through the same with them as I described with this lady and I go through with people, my family, my close friends, sometimes co-workers. It's the same thing that do to come to me, but and then the same thing. But this particular person, this particular family member, they came to me and they had to ask me for something that I freely gave to them. And while they was asking me for this particular thing, they began to talk to me about things that was currently happening in their life. It's hard for me. You came to me. You opened that door for me to walk in and now talk to you about this particular thing you was going through in life. You opened that door. You came to me. All you had to do was ask me for what you wanted. I gave it to you freely. You didn't have to elaborate and go further into what was going on in your life, but you did. And because you did, I gave you some advice. And because that advice was not the advice you wanted to hear, because what I'm going to give you is truth. I am the type of person that if somebody is giving me some advice, if they are standing on the outside looking into my life and I can't see something, give me the truth. It may hurt, but I want truth. I only want the truth. I don't want to live in a false, illusional way of thinking or seeing things. I only want to see myself as this perfect person who don't have any flaws. No, that's not true. I have flaws. So give me the truth. Tell me the truth. Don't be mean-hearted. Don't come with some lies because you want to hurt me, but tell me the truth. I'm going to respect that and I'm going to receive it better. Give me truth. So that's what I give to others. If you invite me in, I'm going to give you truth as how I perceive it, as how I see it. I'm going to give you truth. It may not be what resonate in your spirit, and maybe my perception is wrong, but I'm going to give you the truth of what I see. And if I'm wrong, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to come back and I'm going to apologize to you. And I'm going to say I was wrong with this. I perceived it this way, but now I had a moment to marinate on it, to get some, the Holy Spirit, that's what I call it, talk to you, give you some insight, and I see it differently. I'm going to come back and tell you that. I'm not gonna be one of those ones got this chip on the shoulder and I'm proud and arrogant and I'm not gonna tell you that I feel that I was wrong with that one. No, I'm gonna come back and tell you I misjudged that one. I was wrong. This is what I'm seeing and forgive me. That's me. Okay, so now this person that I'm talking about, my family member that came to me and got angry with me because of the truth that I gave. They got so angry because you want me to look at you and see you doing something that is crazy, but tell you you're not doing it. You want me to see what you see in your mind, what you made up in your head, in your mind, and you want me to tell you that so it can help you feel good about yourself because you feel bad because you putting blinders on to what you actually doing. And because I'm not doing that for you, you get angry and you tell me that I think I'm a know-it-all and I don't know everything and I need to keep my opinion to myself. But you came to me. But you came to me. You opened that door. Don't open that door. Don't come to me if you don't want me to give you my truth of my perception of what I see, the insight that I receive. Don't come to me. But here's the thing. When this person tells me, they say, you want to know something? They say, here go the truth that I'm going to give you since you giving your truth. They said, hear me and hear me good. They said that you are hated by people for the same reason you are loved. Oh, that floored me because it took me back 7 years ago at Disneyland when the woman that was telling my story said the same thing and I didn't agree because that word hate was too strong of a word that I just did not want to see that as being truthful by people who I'm thinking love me, who's supposed to love me, who I love unconditionally. I don't have no hate in me. I may dislike you a lot of times, but I don't hate you. And I guess I felt because I can dislike somebody I love that that's how they saw me. But when this person used the word hate, said you are hated for the same reason you are loved. I said, wow. I said, wow, because it blew my mind. And I'm a strong believer in when people tell you who they are and show you who they are, you believe them. You believe them. Don't make excuses for them when the words is coming directly out of their mouth. Coming out of their mouth telling you that they hate you for the same reason that they love you. You be foolish to believe that, oh, they didn't mean that. No, no, no. I'm not making no excuses for you. Those are the words that came out your mouth. I'm going to believe that. But it hurt my heart. It really did. Because I never saw that coming. And I said to myself, I said, they probably do hate me for the same reason they love me. I said, but I think they hate the fact that they have to always come to me. I think that's what they're hating. Because you can't hate the advice I'm giving you because you keep coming back for it. So that means you hate the fact that you got to keep coming to me, and you hate the fact that I have the wisdom or the perception or the advice to know how to see beyond what you can see and give you the advice. So you hate that. But if it's hating me, it's okay. You hate the fact that I always give you advice that you like. It's good advice. You hate the fact that I know how to budget my money, my little bit of money, okay? Because you see me at the bottom of the totem pole and you up high because you get so much money that you brag about. But you hate the fact that I know how to budget my little bit of money. You got to come to me sometimes when you're hungry. Okay? That's what you hate. And you hate the fact that you make what? 3-4 times more than me? But you're always broke. You hate the fact that I walk away from arguments when I see that your temper is flaring up. I see that you are allowing your circumstances or what you're going through to cause you to lash out at whoever is near you and closest to you, and that may be me. And when I see that coming on, I know that it's that other personality in you. Because, see, we are born into this sinful world of the knowledge of good and evil. And so, even though we have a whole lot of knowledge of good, we also have a whole lot of knowledge of evil. And it takes us as individuals to know how to be strong enough to not give in to executing that knowledge of evil into other people's lives. It takes strength. It takes godly love. It takes faith to be able to not execute that knowledge of evil. And I work on that. So a lot of times I may seem weak because I walk away from when I see it stirring up in you, that knowledge of evil is getting ready to rise up because you need to lash out because you're hurting, because things is not going right in your life. You can't change the circumstances. You can't make things happen better at this moment. And that's because you too knee deep into the circumstances of what is happening. When you in that circumstances, that's a time to grab hold to the knowledge of good, the knowledge of God. That's the time to grab hold to that and to hold on to that and allow it to help you. Allow it to keep you from lashing out at people that's closest to you. This is why I have the strength to walk away when I see that you want to give in to the knowledge of evil more so than the knowledge of good, and you want to use me as the person you want to lash out to on. You come to me, but now you're ready to attack me. I'm not going to dislike you. I'm not going to hate you, because I see the spirit behind you. And I see right now you are knee deep into the knowledge of evil. And I'm not going to be your punching bag. So I walk away because I'm not trying to match that energy. I'm not. Because you know what? At that particular moment, I'm holding on to the knowledge of good. And inside my mind, I am saying, Lord God, help me. Help me to be strong and help me to not become as this person is be acting and becoming right now. Help me to walk away from this. Help me to continue to have love in my heart for this person and to only see this person for the good and to walk away from this person, because I don't want to be someone that only see the darkness in a person. Because I know that there's always hope. There's always hope. There's always a change. As long as you walking on this planet, there's always a chance for a second chance. In other words, we always have a way, a moment, as long as we're here on earth, to correct things, to repent, to change who we are. We have that ability to do that. So I don't want to see people in a dark light. I just don't. I see when they're being influenced and used at that moment, I get away from them because I do see the light in them. I do see the goodness in them, and I want to continue to see that. I don't want that to be taken away from me, because darkness has infiltrated my thought and my vision into the insight of seeing the light in them. So now this person is mad at me because they want to fight and I choose to walk away because I'm not going there. Oh, I showed you in the past I can't go there. I'm human. I could be pushed to a limit, to a point where I go there. And when I go there, usually when I go there, I'm crying because I'm angry that I went there. I'm angry that I crossed that line. I'm angry because I know going there is nothing pretty. It's nothing good. And you can do some things when you go there that you'll regret later. And I hate going there. And so I cry. And then, there were times when I had to go back and repent for going there. Because I came to, hey, did something I wish I hadn't done. But people will push you. So before I stand there and allow you to push me, I learned to walk away. I learned to get away, regardless of what you think of me at that moment. I learned to walk away. You can call it weak if you want to, but it takes a whole lot of strength to be that person, to walk away. And so now when a person tells me something straight from the horse's mouth, I believe what they say to me. Now I look back and if I run into that lady again, I'm going to tell her, you know what? I believe what you're saying now because I heard it straight from the horse's mouth. I heard somebody close to me, a family member, tell me that they hate me for the same reason they love me. And this person comes to me all the time, depends on me, and still, after saying that to me, come back for advice, come back and ask for help. And guess what? I give it lovingly and freely because that's who I am. That was a definitely wake-up call for me. That was a wake-up call. It blew my mind. But it helps me to see people. And it helps me to stop making excuses for people. I do that. I justify their actions. I justify their motives. I justify why they are doing what they're doing to me because they have so many loving moments with me that I justify when they don't. And it's time for me to stop and understand that when they tell me who they are, this is who they are. But I understand it's for a moment because of the fact that they are now walking into the knowledge of evil and they are allowing it to use them. But it doesn't mean they don't have good in them because I have seen and witnessed the good. But now my mind and my thoughts have changed. Yeah, people can hate you for the same reason they love you. So people, that's this week's story. I hope somebody was blessed by this story. Click the subscribe button, whatever it is, thumbs up button. Until next week, peace, people. Be blessed. I'm out. Have a good week.